Eliza was a 7-year-old girl. One sunny afternoon, she sat in the backyard with her little tea set. She smiled and laughed, pouring pretend tea into tiny cups. But she wasn't alone. Across from her was an empty chair. She talked to someone no one could see. "Here you go, Luna," she said sweetly, handing the cup to the air. Inside the house, Eliza's mother stood at the window. She watched her daughter closely, her face full of worry. She whispered to herself, "She's playing with Luna again." That night, Eliza was in bed. The room was dark, but she wasn't asleep. She was hiding under her blanket with a flashlight. She whispered, "Luna, are you still mad at me?" There was silence for a moment. Then, a soft voice whispered back, but no one else was there. The shadows on the wall started to move. They looked like a girl with long hair, standing still. Eliza didn't look scared. She smiled. "I knew you'd come back." The next morning, Eliza sat quietly at the kitchen table. She didn't smile. She didn't talk. Her mother gave her a bowl of cereal. Eliza pushed it away and said softly, "Luna is gone." Her mother sat down beside her. "What do you mean, honey?" "We had a fight," Eliza said. "She said I broke the rules. So she left." Her mother gently touched her hand. "It's okay, sweetie. Luna wasn't real." Eliza looked up with wide, serious eyes. Yes, she was. Many years later, Eliza was now 24 years old. Her face looked older, but her eyes still held a bit of that same sadness. She came back to her childhood home after her parents passed away. The house was quiet, full of dust and old memories. Eliza walked through each room slowly. She stopped in the backyard and looked at the spot where she used to play. The little table was still there, rusted and broken. She smiled a little, but her eyes filled with tears. "Hello again," she whispered. There was no one around, but a cold wind blew gently across her face. Later that evening, Eliza went up to the attic. It was dark and full of boxes covered in cobwebs. She opened one box and found her old drawings. Most were colorful and happy, sun, flowers, and smiling faces. But one drawing made her stop. It showed two girls holding hands. One was clearly Eliza. The other had black eyes, long arms, and no smile. At the top, written in shaky letters, was one word, Luna. Eliza stared at it, her hands shaking a little. "I don't remember drawing this," she whispered. That night, Eliza was trying to sleep. The house was very quiet. Too quiet. Suddenly, she heard a creaking sound, like a door slowly opening. Then, soft footsteps echoed in the hallway outside her room. She sat up in bed and listened. The sound stopped right outside her door. Eliza got up and opened the door. No one was there, but the air felt cold, like winter. She closed the door and turned around. Her bedroom window was wide open. She was sure she had locked it. The next morning, Eliza went into the bathroom. The mirror was foggy from the shower. She picked up a towel to wipe it clean, but before she could touch it, she saw something written in the fog. It said, "Miss me?" Eliza froze. Her hand trembled as she backed away from the mirror. She whispered, "No, this can't be happening." Behind her, the bathroom door slowly creaked shut, all by itself. Eliza ran outside to get some fresh air. She needed to clear her mind. As she walked into the backyard, she suddenly stopped. Her eyes widened in shock. The old tea table was set up again. Two chairs were there just like before. Tiny cups were neatly placed on the table. One cup was already filled with water. No one else was around. Eliza hadn't touched that tea set in years. She whispered, "Luna?" A cold breeze blew past her, and one of the chairs creaked, as if someone had just sat down. Later that day, Eliza walked to the house next door. An old woman opened the door. It was Mrs. Gray, their neighbor from years ago. "Oh my, Eliza," she said. "You've grown up." They sat on the porch together. Eliza asked, Do you remember when I was little? When I used to talk to someone named Luna? Mrs. Gray looked uneasy. She nodded slowly. You were always alone, dear, she said softly. But yes, you talked a lot. Mostly to the woods. You'd sit out there for hours, laughing and whispering. Eliza felt a chill. She asked, Did you ever see Luna? Mrs. Gray shook her head. No, sweetheart. I never saw her, but I always felt something was watching. That evening, Eliza searched through more of the old boxes. At the bottom of one, she found a small tape recorder. A label on it said, Luna's voice. Her hands shook as she pressed play. At first, there was only static. Then a whisper. A soft, strange voice said, You promised you'd never leave me. Eliza dropped the recorder. Her heart was racing. She picked it up and hit stop, breathing heavily. In the silence, she heard something from the hallway. A soft giggle. A child's giggle. The next morning, Eliza tried to leave the house. She packed a bag, grabbed her car keys, and rushed outside. But her car wouldn't start. No matter how many times she turned the key, the engine stayed silent. She checked her phone. It was dead. She tried the landline inside the house. No dial tone. Confused and scared, Eliza went to open the front door again. It was locked. She hadn't locked it, and now no key would open it. She was trapped. The house had locked her in. That night, Eliza couldn't sleep. She kept hearing noises, soft footsteps, creaks in the floor, quiet breathing. At midnight, she opened her eyes. Someone was standing at the end of her bed. It was a girl. Her skin was pale, her hair long and black. Her eyes were dark, too dark. She smiled, but it didn't look friendly. Eliza couldn't move. She stared in shock. Luna, she whispered. The girl tilted her head slowly and nodded. I missed you, Luna said in a voice that didn't sound human. The next day, Eliza found the living room changed. Her old toys were everywhere, dolls, blocks, and games she hadn't seen in years. On the floor was her childhood board game. A note next to it said, Let's play, just like before. Eliza picked up one of the dolls. Its eyes were missing, and there was something red on its dress, like blood. Then she heard a voice behind her. Your turn. She turned quickly, but no one was there. The room felt colder. She could feel Luna watching, waiting. Eliza couldn't take it anymore. She searched online and found a local psychic. The woman came the next day, holding a small bag of crystals and candles. As soon as the psychic stepped into the house, she froze. Her face turned pale. There's something here, she whispered. This is not a spirit. It's older, darker. She walked into the living room and stopped again. She stared at the tea table and shook her head. She's still here. She never left. Then the psychic looked at Eliza with fear in her eyes. She's not human, and she's still hungry. After the psychic left, Eliza went through an old photo album. She turned each page slowly, looking at her childhood pictures. Then she stopped. One photo showed her 8th birthday party. Eliza was smiling with a cake in front of her. But in the background, standing near the trees, was a strange figure. It looked like a girl, but not quite. Her face was blurry, pale, and her eyes were just black. She was staring straight at the camera. Eliza's hands started shaking. She whispered, That's Luna. That night, Eliza couldn't sleep again. She kept hearing a voice calling her name. Eliza, come outside. Like in a dream, she got up and walked into the backyard. She picked up a shovel from the shed, without knowing why. Something inside her was guiding her hands. She began digging in the old play area, where the tea table had once been. After some time, the shovel hit something hard. It was a small wooden box, like a child's coffin. Eliza opened it slowly. Inside was an old mirror and a folded piece of paper. She opened the paper. In her own handwriting, it said, I became real, Because you loved me. Suddenly, the air turned freezing cold. Eliza looked up and Luna was standing a few feet away. Her eyes were darker than before. Her mouth stretched into a wide, unnatural smile. Do you remember your promise? Luna asked. You said you'd never leave me. Eliza stepped back. I was just a kid. You weren't real. Luna's smile faded. If I wasn't real, then how am I here? The ground began to shake. The windows of the house shattered. Dark cracks appeared in the walls. Black liquid started dripping from them. The house was falling apart, and Luna was getting closer. Eliza ran into the house, but it looked different now. The walls were covered in shadows. Whispers came from every corner. Then Luna appeared in front of her. Let's play one last game, she said. It's called Don't Blink. Eliza's eyes widened. What happens if I blink? If you blink, you stay with me forever, Luna whispered. If you don't, I disappear. Eliza nodded slowly, scared but ready. They stood face to face. Luna's face began to change, twisting, stretching, becoming darker and scarier. But Eliza didn't blink. She held her eyes open, even as tears ran down her cheeks. Eliza's eyes burned. They filled with tears, but she didn't blink. Not once. Luna's face twisted more. Her mouth opened wider than it should. Her skin cracked. Her voice became a scream. But Eliza stood still, staring. She whispered, You're not real. You never were. Suddenly, Luna's body began to fade, like smoke in the wind. Her scream echoed through the house, then silence. Everything stopped. The cold was gone. The walls were normal again. Eliza fell to the floor, breathing hard. She had won. Luna was gone. Weeks passed. Eliza moved far away to a new city. She found a small apartment and tried to start fresh. One day, while unpacking, she saw something in the corner of the room. A small tea table with 2 chairs. She didn't remember putting it there. On the table were 2 tiny cups. One was full. Eliza froze. Her hands trembled. Then, from behind her, a soft voice whispered, I missed you. And somewhere in the room, a child's giggle echoed.